Sunday, Jesus ends the gospel saying, "This is my commandment, that you love one another." I couldn't help but think this week as I prayed about the gospel, about the readings, recognizing that still this priority that especially John shares with us, this priority of love, of God who is love, of the Father who loves the Son and is one with him, of our unity in love in Jesus, that Jesus loves us, his friends, as he lays down his life for us, that his one commandment for us is that we love one another. And if we keep that commandment, we'll be able to live in his love. Like that's the whole gospel message summed up in just a few seconds. I couldn't help but reflect as I prayed during the week that we've been talking about this kind of on purpose for a few years now. And when we started, I really thought that it would just be for a time. There was a time that I kind of focused on discipleship, and there was a time that I kind of focused on mission. And I really thought that this would be for a time that we focus on love. But it feels more and more permanent, more and more central to the Christian message. And that's not to say that things remain stagnant. My understanding of love, of this gift, of this commandment, of this truth that's God, of our participation sometimes in that truth, in that love, like all of that has grown in the last few years. And I know that some of it's a broadened understanding of love, a better understanding of love as both desire for the other and gift to the other, a broader understanding of love as will rather than just emotion, a broader understanding, but that's not all. And what I felt called to point towards this week, both to explore and maybe to share, would be the depth that changes in love. Like if you ask how a mother loves her child, maybe that depth changes if the child is in danger or grows sick or is in need of extra care. That love, that desire, that longing maybe grows. That what is love in a marriage, like it changes in scope, but maybe also the depth of what love means changes through a long-term loving relationship. And I was thinking that for me to grow in this depth of love, maybe there's some exercise required. Just like I get very much out of shape when I don't exercise any of my muscles and don't get any activity, so also love might require exercise. It's not something that we can just choose. It's not a switch that we can just turn on or off. Just like I can't choose to be strong or fit. Like there's a process. And that exercise of love, of more and more learning to desire the other, to desire God, to desire what is good. That aspect of love that longs not for myself, that's selfishness, but for another. Not for myself in the other, reflected in their glasses, but for another. That longing for what is good for some other person, for what is good for God, that becomes love, and it requires exercise. I can't just wake up one day when I'm frustrated with my spouse and say, no, today I want to love. Like we have to do that day after day and grow in that ability to love. And the ability to give to what we've desired, to give everything in order to match our desire for the good of the other. That grows as we practice it day by day. And so I just think, reflecting back, that it's been a good 2 years focusing on love, on God, who's love, on God, who loves us and sends his Son, on that loving relationship with Jesus, who calls us his friends and loves us, on the love that we're called to have for one another, the willingness to risk desiring, caring, longing for each other, the love that requires that we give of ourselves, maybe our whole lives, for our friends.